There are so many lies we've been told about real estate investment, and one of the most popular among them is that we need lots of millions of naira for us to invest in real estate. The reality remains that even if you earn less than 500,000 in a month, you could start investing in real estate. And in this video, my purpose is to share with you these strategies that you could use to start investing in real estate, even if you're earning less than 500,000 naira in a month. If this is your first time seeing my videos, I am Valentine Chinedu Okoye. I am your favorite real estate investment doctor, an estate surveyor and valuer. I graduated from University of Nigeria, Enugu campus in the Department of Estate Management, and then I've been practicing real estate for over a decade. In the course of my practice, I've helped a lot of middle-income earners, civil servants, nurses, and even NYSC members start their real estate journey. And then I am glad to have you on this space with me today. Why are we even talking about real estate investment? We cannot start talking about the strategies for you to invest if you don't really understand why you need to invest in the first instance. So today I'm going to share the reasons why you need to invest. No, there are 5 levels of wealth, right? For someone to actually be said that he is wealthy, then he has a lot of money that could take care of himself without him actually working. That's when someone could be called wealthy. So in what it now means is that wealth is measured in time. Now, why we're talking about real estate investment is because we want you to translate from the point of where you need to work for your money to a point where your money starts working for you, and you could live your dream life without actually having to work. Now, the 5 levels of wealth, the first level of wealth is the point of financial foolishness, which is at the point where an individual earns and then he basically eats from hands to mouth. It's not a factor of how much the person is earning, it's a factor of how the person uses what is earning. For instance, I have a lot of friends who work in oil companies and then they earn in millions of naira. But before the end of the month, you see Mr. A calling you and saying, "Hi, please, can I get so amount of money? I'll give you by the end of the month." What it now means is that this guy is asking for 200,000 naira, but this guy earns at least 1.5 million, 2 million naira every month. But he is here calling you and then he wants you to send him 200,000 naira. What it means is that he has finished the money he has, right? So at the point of financial foolishness, we're not just talking about someone who doesn't earn enough. We're talking about people who earn, but they don't have anything to show for it. That's the first level of wealth. Now, the second level of wealth is the point of financial stability. Now, these people who are financially stable, they have savings that they could survive on, right? In fact, we have a rule of thumb, right? The rule of thumb is that this your savings should be up to at least 3 months to 6 months. What it means is that if you stop working today, do you have enough money in your savings, in your bank account, that could sustain you for 6 months or 3 months minimum, right? So the level of financial stability you have is to the amount of time you can survive on your savings without working. Now, the next level is a point of financial security. The point of financial security is a point where you have investments. I'm not talking about having money in your bank account. You will not have investments that generate money for you that is consistent and it is predictable and it is continuous, right? Now, there are 3 major things I've mentioned here. The flow, the income, the cash flow coming from this your asset must be consistent, it must be predictable, and it must be continuous. So and then that income that is continuous, predictable, and consistent is enough to take care of your basic needs. That's the point you talk about financial security. So you're financially secured at the point where the money coming in from your investment, which is consistent, predictable, and continuous, can take care of your basic needs without you having to work again. That is the point of financial security. And now the next point, which is the 4th one, is the point of financial freedom. The point of financial freedom is when the money coming from these or investments or assets or businesses that you're not directly involved in is consistent. The money coming in is consistent, predictable, and continuous, and is enough to take care of your basic needs and then also fund your desires. And then the 5th level is a point of financial abundance, where this money coming in consistently, predictably, and continuously is enough to take care of your basic needs your dreams, and then also other people's basic needs and dreams. Now, this is the point where you start taking titles like Okpato Zerora, the one who feeds the community and others. Now, our goal, or why we talk about real estate investment, is for one to move from the point of where he has to work for his money to a point where the money keeps working for him. Now, one thing is obvious: our strength is highly overrated, right? If you're hoping that you're going to work forever, I want to break it to you that one thing that is constant in life is aging, right? But one thing we can determine is how well we will live even when we are aging. Now, the purpose of why we keep talking about people investing, or why you should start investing irrespective of where you are, is because we want us to be able to live a good life even when we are aging. Now, I have to repeat this: for you to grow old is a constant. It must happen, right? Now, what you could actually control is how you will live your life when you grow old. I've shared a lot of statistics on my page about the percentage of people who retire and then they cannot survive. They barely depend on other people to survive because they have not planned for retirement. Now, there is something very common among us Africans, right? Most times we depend on our parents as our retirement plan, right? But I want to break it to you that era is gone. In the olden days, when basically we depended on agriculture to survive, our parents, our great-grandparents and grandparents, they married a lot of wives because they needed the workforce to work on their farm, and then the family actually lived on the farm. So the family can, when the parents start getting old, the children start taking care of them, and then they also depend on the farm to take care of them. And now we should remember there are factors we should consider in those days. These people married very early, right? Now, maybe even our parents could afford to depend on us as their retirement plan, right? But we cannot afford the same luxury. We can't afford the same luxury. Let me give you an instance. You that is watching this video, how old are you? And then, are you married? If you're married, how old is your kid? How many years will it take you for you to get to 60 or 65 or 70? And how old will your son be at that point in time? Must he have finished university education? Now, if your answers to these questions are in the negative, my bro, you need to stay till the end of this video, because whatever I'm going to share is for you. Another mistake that we make often is that we tend to wait for the right time for us to invest, or the right money for us to invest. But I want to break it to you that investing is not about the right time or the right money. It's more about having the right strategy. And that's basically what I'm going to share with you today. I shared a story recently about my friend who I took to a particular property in 2020, and then he was supposed to buy this particular property. The plot was selling for 800,000 naira per plot. He had the money because he was working a remote job. He works for a company overseas, and then they pay him very well. So he had a lot of money. But what he told me that day is that particular place was a bush, and then he thinks he would. In fact, in his words, he said, "Val, I want to save up so that I could buy something in the town." Right now, eventually, December that year, he got married. And then before he knew it, he had a kid. And then they had to move to a larger apartment. He was first staying at a 1-bedroom flat, and then he now had to move to Tinker's Corner, and then took up a 2-bedroom flat. And then recently, I was speaking with him. I said, "Guy, how far now? The land we talked about 5 years ago, what's up?" And he was like, "Val, it be like say, this thing, now my village people, because I have money and I don't know what actually happens to it. I have money." In fact, I knew when the salary was increased, so he's earning so well. He's earning far bigger than what he was earning in 2020. But up till today, as I'm speaking to you, he's yet to acquire a property. Now, this was what he did not take cognizance of. Now, as your money increases, so will your responsibility increase. So as your money is increasing, the babies are coming, more household items to buy, more spaces to take care of, more people in the village to take care of. So each time we are growing, that's also how our challenges and responsibilities grow, and that's also how our demand, the demand on our money, keep expanding. So it is best that you start acting today. Also, one factor that a lot of people keep ignoring is the fact that inflation plays a big role. I have a friend who has been saving for over 10 years now because he wants to buy a property in the city. But let me tell you the shocker, right? 5 years ago, we were at Ndafine Layout, and then he saw a property he wanted to buy for 6.5 million naira. Now he actually saw other properties they showed him. I think that particular time we saw a property in Bricks Estate, and then the owner was willing to sell it for 35 million as of that time. And then he said, Val, why will I spend 6.5 million naira buying a property in Ndafine Layout? For those who don't know, Ndafine Layout is just behind the current New Keeta market. So he said he wants to save more, maybe give himself extra 5 years to save up this 35 million naira. He had 6 million already, so how long will it take him to save it up? The shocker is that as we're speaking today, the plot in Bricks Estates, that same location that he would have paid 36 million naira for, is now the same 500 square meter is going for 80 million naira now. And then my guy just has 20 million naira in his account. He has not even saved up to that 36 million. He now has 20 million naira. And now the properties he could afford for 20 million naira is not the same value as what he would have afforded, like he would have gotten for 36 million naira in that particular year. That's 5 years ago that we're talking about. Now, so what it now means is that the more you wait for you to actually save up money to invest, that's also how the properties keep increasing in value. Now, when we're talking about property increase in value, we're not just talking about magical increase in numbers or people randomly picking up figures and then putting up to a particular property and saying this is the value of the property. No, we're talking about the factor of demand and supply playing in. Now, what actually happens is this: land is a fixed factor of production, right? And irrespective of the location, if it obeys the principles I'm going to share at the end of this video, definitely it will appreciate in value. Now, land being a fixed factor of production means that they are not making new land again, right? But now population is a varied factor, and then it keeps increasing. In fact, in the Malthusian theory, he said factor of production increases in arithmetic progression, but population increases in geometric progression. So when population increase goes from tens to hundreds to thousands, fixed factor of production is fixed, it's not growing. But other factors of production could be going in ones to twos. It could be growing from 1 to 2. Like what it now means is that land being a fixed factor of production and population being continuously in the increase, it now means that we will be more, as always, more persons who need the land than the land that is available for use, right? So what it now means is that when the demand is higher than supply of a product, what happens? The price increases. So as you're waiting to save your money, that's also how population is increasing. That's also more demand for land is coming, and that's how also the land is increasing in price. So what are you now going to do to make sure that you don't miss out? Now, there are so many strategies available for you without even you having to borrow money, right? I don't actually encourage people to borrow money to buy land, because land itself does not necessarily generate cash flow. And I often advise people to borrow money to buy assets that generate cash flow, and then the cash flow has to be enough to pay back the interest and the capital you're paying. That is the amortized amount that you're paying back occasionally, right? So since land is just a fixed factor and it does not actually generate cash flow, so to say, you don't have to borrow to pay off the land, to pay back the land. Now, what are the other options available to you as an individual who is just earning maybe 300,000 or 500,000 naira in a month? Now, there are so many options. One is what is obvious to everybody: a payment plan. Most real estate companies in Enugu, I'm going to share an opportunity with you at the end of this video. So, okay, I could just mention it now. Actually, we have a property right now that is selling for 2 million naira, and then we could just make an initial deposit of 500,000, and you could spread the balance for 6 months or 9 months, depending on what's most favorable to you. So, just for sake of those who will not stay to the end of this video, I will also put an expression of interest form at the description, so you could go there and then you pick the particular payment plan that suits you, fill in the details, and we'll reach out to you to discuss further how you can take advantage of this. It will share the location and everything to you. Now, one of the most easiest way to go into real estate if you're not earning so much is to do a payment plan. Now, it's a form of debt, right? But it's a good debt. I kind of try to encourage people that debt in itself is not bad, right? A lot of persons, they just, when they hear OE, they run away. But the obvious truth is that debt in itself is not bad. Now, let me tell you the situation. For instance, this product I shared with you is on promo sales, and you're buying it for 2 million naira. What it now means is that after the launch, the property will go back to its actual value of 3 million naira. But what a payment plan will do for you is that you're going to lock down the price at the current rate. So even when the price is appreciating in value, you are already enjoying the appreciation even though you have not finished paying. I know you've not thought of it that way, right? So don't mention, right? So now, the payment plan gives you leverage, right? You are leveraging on the benevolence of the developer, and then also you are enjoying the appreciation that comes in even with the duration of when you're paying. So most times we shouldn't see it from the side of that you don't want to. When you're sure that you have a salary that is consistent and it can take care of the payment, it's just like you saving upfront, right? So when you're using a payment plan, it's like you're saving backwards, so to say. You already have the property and you are now saving for it. Instead of saving to get it, you have already gotten it and you're now saving to pay it back. So I think I will encourage everyone, you just take advantage of payment plans. There are a lot of real estate companies who are offering payment plans. Just find the one that is most suitable for you. It's not just enough that you're taking my own, right? Have a property that is selling for 1 million naira with a payment plan, or 850,000 with a payment plan. Just find what's most suitable for you, and make sure you stay till the end of this video. I'm going to share you a strategy you will use to know what is the best place for you to invest. Now, the second option is what I call co-investing or co-owning, right? You could come up with your spouse, you and your wife could just decide to buy a property together, right? It's not a must that you are a sole proprietor of a property or you are the sole landlord. I used to tell those who are around me that I'm much concerned about being an economic lord than just being a landlord, right? Whatever we're looking for is the freedom that comes from owning this real estate investment, is the benefits that accrue to us. So it doesn't matter if you're buying 500 square meter or 200 square meter, or you're owning a particular piece. In fact, when we did Himalayas Estate, I have a lot of friends who came through. Okay, I will give you a particular example. This client, I shared a property that was selling for 1.5 million naira to him, and then he was interested. He said he was coming. He wanted to buy 2 of these plots from me, and then we went to inspect the place, and after that we came back. I had another person who wanted to see Himalayas, so I went with him to Himalayas to show the client. When we got there, he realized Himalayas was selling on promo price of 6 million naira. Now he had 3 million naira he wanted to invest somewhere else, and then I told him about the payment plan option, that you could put down the 3 million naira as initial deposit and then spread the balance. And he looked at himself, man, this guy was a student. Are you shocked? It's a real life story, man. This guy is a student, so he knew that paying back the other 3 million naira is going to be difficult for him. He was like, man, you no go easy. It will be difficult for me to actually pay off this thing, even if I make this initial deposit. So I shared the option of co-owning with him. I said, you could find a friend, and then you and your friend could come together. Someone who has the same light mind, the same idea, who is passionate about financial freedom, and then you could come together and then own this property. And that's exactly what he did. It took him 2 days, but eventually found someone, and today they have finished paying for this property. They paid in less than 3 months. They finished paying for the whole 6 million naira. But even before they finished paying, the property was already selling for 8.5 million naira, right? So that is a true example of both the flexible payment plan and the co-owning joined together. Now, these are things you need to check if you want to co-own a property. If you're a husband and wife, right, it's not going to be Mr. Val Okoye. It's not just going to be Mr. and Mrs. Val Okoye, right? If you're owning a property, the names of the two people who are owning this property must be well spelled the way it is in their legal documents, right? So if I am owning this property with my wife, it's going to be Mr. Valentine Chinedu Okoye and Mrs. Faith Nnadi, right? That is me and my wife, the way it is in the legal document. So it's not a Mr. and Mrs. abbreviation something. No, if you're owning a property, the names will be spelled out the way it is, right? So you could do this with a colleague, you could do this with a wife, you could do this with a friend. And now also you could have a memorandum of understanding that states clearly what happens at the point where one person wants to sell and the other person doesn't want to sell. Is the second party giving a choice of first refusal? Is it giving an offer of first refusal, like in case of sale, right? Now, what if one person dies? These are the factors that we could envisage. These are things that could happen in the future. It might not eventually happen, but you have to have a memorandum of understanding that states your interests, purposes, goals, aspirations, and even how to sever the agreement. Like when you now want to say how the exit strategy, everything, it has to be stated in the memorandum of understanding. So if you are interested in owning, if it's you and your wife, you could actually do this even without the memorandum of understanding, but it's important that you should do this, right? So that's the second strategy. Then the third strategy is what we call a land locking system. A land locking system is you don't even have the payment plan, the first initial deposit, right? But you could have save it up within a time frame, right? It's a very short time frame. Let's assume now that you're doing initial deposit of 500,000 for the 2 million naira land and you don't have it, but you know that in 2 months you'll be able to save this 500,000. You could use 200,000 to lock down the land, right? You use 200,000, lock down the land, and then maybe use 2 months or 3 months to save up the initial deposit. And when you now save up the initial deposit and a contract of sale is issued to you, a temporal allocation letter is also issued to you, and then you now spread the balance of what is remaining within 6 months or 9 months and pay off the balance, right? The land lock system is a very beautiful way of also entering real estate investment if you're earning below 500,000. Now, the first strategy is through cooperatives, right? The power of cooperative is in bulk purchases. Now, cooperative is about you in your place of work, in your family. You could decide to come together and pool resources together to buy land. Now, let's assume you are a cooperative and you're coming to buy maybe 50 plots from me in this particular estate that I have. I'm not going to sell it at the same rate that I'm selling to someone who just buy one plot, right? So the power of the cooperative is in the bulk purchases. So you could have a cooperative, raise your resources, and then walk up to a developer, negotiate with him, and you'll be surprised that you're going to even buy it far below what other people who are buying from the same estate, right? So now these are very beautiful plans that you could take advantage of if you're earning small amount, if you're earning less than 500,000 naira in a month. And remember, the more time you wait, the properties keep appreciating, and then it's best that you act now. So this video actually we've done a training about it, and then on the course of the training there was one particular question one of the people who attended the training asked. So when I spoke about these 3 factors you need to know, he asked one very important question. I think you should know that too. He said, how do you know that these things are there? How do you ascertain these things, especially for most of them who are not in Nigeria, right? So my answer was very simple. You could ask the realtor, the developer, the agent, whoever is dealing with you, to share with you the prospects that are in this particular area. When we're talking about prospects, we're talking about these projects I'm talking about. What are these particular things what are these particular improvement government activities or businesses that will ensure that make this place attractive for people to come in the nearest future, right? So for instance, when I was telling people about Himalayas, I told them about the Amangpaka Ultra Modern Market that is proposed to be the new timber market. I told them about the dualization of the road, the Enugu-Nsukka Expressway that the government is doing. Now, these were the factors we considered that will attract people to the Himalayas, and then obviously the high increase in prices of property and rent. In fact, just this morning I saw a duplex of 8-bedroom flats, and I called to inquire how much was the rent, and then I was told 12 million naira. Man, I'm yet to overcome the shock. It's still a very big shock to me. So now this is major pointer that the city is ripe to expand to the suburban areas, because if you check what is happening in Enugu, a lot of persons cannot afford the high rent. So what it now means is that if there is access road and then there is a good transport system, a lot of persons would prefer to live in the suburban areas and come and work in the city. Just like what we have in Lagos, a lot of people traveling for 2 hours for them to get to their workplaces. So now this is a pointer to the migration that is happening everywhere in Enugu right now. But anyway, back to the question. So I told him, first thing you need to do is that you need to let the agent, let him share these particular things with you. If there are projects, for instance, I mentioned in Himalayas, the Amangpaka Ultra Modern Markets, the agent should be able to do a video and then show you how close it is to the particular property he's selling. Then the best way to verify all these things is that you should tell the person to share a pin with you. What I mean by share a pin is that the person could go there and pick it from the Google Earth, pick the particular location if he knows it from Google Earth, and send it to you. So with that, you could actually key it into your own Google Earth space, and you'll be able to view these things for yourself. So that's the best way to go about this. Even the projects I'm talking about, they could go there and share the particular location to you, and through your Google lens, you'll be able to see these things. We're living in a digital world, and most lies can no longer be covered for a long time. So you just have to get the right resources, and boom, they're there for you to see. Now that we have looked at those various strategies you could use, now I want to share with you, this is like a bonus on this video, the things you should look out for whenever you want to buy a particular property, right? The things you're going to look out for whenever you buy a particular property, want to buy a particular property. So how do you know that a particular property is going to appreciate? Excuse me. So I'm actually doing this video. I'm actually doing this part of the video because I know a lot of us, we keep hearing that the best investment on earth is land, because everything revolves around it, right? So, but you could also end up tying your money when you buy the wrong investment. So real estate is very secured, is very genuine, is a very good investment. But if you don't do it right, you might eventually end up tying your money. It's not just about buying an unencumbered land, but buying a land that will also appreciate. So how do you know that a particular place is going to appreciate? There are various factors you need to check to see if a particular property is going to appreciate. 1, we talk about government presence. 2, we talk about migration. Then 3, we talk about commerce. Now, a place, okay, let me talk about this. Let me just explain this. Now, when a lot of persons were buying the Bejuleki years back, so many people did not believe them, right? But the developers who were selling this, there were things that they saw. They saw the inflow of the government, the expansion of the city. That's what we're talking about migration. We're talking about migration, we're talking about the expansion of the city, right? So cities expand in 2 ways. Is that the city is expanding in the vertical way, it's going upwards, or it's going horizontal way, it's going outwards, right? Now, currently in Nigeria, it is easier for cities to expand in the horizontal ways. It's easier for city to expand in the towards to suburban areas than it is for the city to grow upwards, like building skyscrapers and all those stuff. So when the cost of expanding outwards become higher than going upwards, the cities will start going upwards, right? That's what is happening in major cities in US, right? Now, but what we're talking about is that you need to check what will attract people. Are people moving towards this particular area? Is there a shift of migration? Is there a shift in the location, in demography of a particular place, right? Are there factors that could actually move people towards a particular area, right? So a place where the movement of people in a particular area intertwines with government presence and then commerce and businesses is the best place for you to invest. When we're talking about government presence, we're talking about government projects like schools, hospitals, especially roads, right? When governments are doing road, accessibility is a very key factor in real estate. So when governments start doing roads, it also means that businesses now see it easier to navigate, and now businesses will start coming into a particular place. Once there is access road, the government businesses will start coming in. So most times the key thing is government presence. Is there a government presence? Are there factories that government is doing? Are there factories that individuals are doing in a place? Are there businesses going up in a place? So anywhere you see these three factors, these are factors we need to check. And anywhere we see an interaction of these three factors, my brother, my sister, please rush and grab that particular place. So in case if you have any particular question you want me to attend to, you could put it up on the comment section, and then do also remember to like, share, and then click on the notification bell, so when next that we drop our video, you will be the first to know about it. See you.